are you all doing? Let me stop this. Wow, thank you all so much for coming. I think this is, I mean, I should like take a picture and count, but I think this is our largest call out ever. It seems like I get really in my head when I reserve rooms, because I'm both afraid of being way under capacity and I'm really afraid of being over capacity, and it seems like we got it just right. So yeah, thank you. You're all the best. So my name is Matthew. I'm the president of Purdue Hackers. I've been part of Purdue Hackers for 2 years, since my freshman year, and it's really awesome to see how far it's come. It's just really inspiring. All of these pictures are from the last year. Actually, the one in the middle left was from 2 years ago, but the rest are from the last year. It's really exploded, and it's really magical now. So I'm here to share with you what Purdue Hackers is and does. Ready? Okay. So if I had to describe Purdue Hackers in one sentence, like what we are, I think we're a community of students who help each other build creative technical projects. That's what I usually tell people, like, and as an elevator pitch. And really quickly, there's a common misconception that I want to get out of the way. When we talk about hack, like hacking, we're referring to creatively solving technical problems, like making things, like making app websites, games, hardware, generative art, whatever you want. It's not the like pen testing, cybersecurity, CTF variety. It can be if you want it to be, but what we're more focused on is like we're just here to facilitate you making things, and that can be whatever you want. And when I say we're here to facilitate making things, I really mean it. I think we all think making something you're proud of is one of the most fulfilling things you can do as a young person, and college is like the best time in your life to really do it, because you're like finally an adult in control of your own destiny and surrounded by thousands of people who all want to grow with you, and it's really cool. And so it feels especially good to like make something you're proud of. But it's really, really hard to do. And if you've ever made a project or started a project and didn't finish it, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's really hard to make stuff, especially as a student. Because the thing is, as a student, you're pulled in in a bunch of different directions by academic and social obligations. It's also hard to get started. Like, I don't know if you felt this before, but when like getting started for me is always the hardest part of making something, like any kind of project, because if you want to do it, first you need to come up with an idea. That's hard enough on its own, but then you have to really love the idea, you have to be super into it, and it has to be in this like Goldilocks zone of challenging. Like it can't be too easy or you'll get bored, and it can't be too hard or you'll give up. And just like already getting there is hard enough, and then you actually have to do it while being pulled in every direction. So it's really hard, but one thing that makes it better is a community of people who are also making things, and then you make things together and help each other. And that's what Purdue Hackers is, and that's how I think we fix this. So we do that in 3 ways. We have a community on Discord, we run regular workshops, and we run weekly hack nights. And I'm going to tell you about all of these things. By the way, I feel really weird being behind this desk. I wish I could walk around, but I don't have, like, I should have brought my mouse or something to click to be able to change the slides. No. Thank you. Okay, where was I? Okay, first part is our community. Our community refers to the community on Discord. It's really cool to be able to talk about the community like this because it's really like exploded over the last year. We currently have 1,500 people in the Discord. If you're in the Discord Student Hub, we're the 3rd largest server under clubs and the 8th or 9th under overall for Purdue University, which is really cool because a year ago we had like a couple hundred people in there, and a year before that we had 90 people in there. So it's really cool to be here, to be able to say that like the community is one of our core programs. And it really is. One of my favorite things that has emerged is there's a really strong community vibe. You go in there and you immediately see people are hanging out and asking for help on projects and sharing what they're working on, and the vibes are just immaculate. It's so good. It's also where we share all of our events. So every time we have an event coming up, we post it in the announcements channel on Discord. So if you're not in our Discord, you don't have to, but I highly recommend you join. That QR code takes you right to an invite link. And I'll leave this up for a couple seconds, but if you miss it, that's okay, because this QR code will come back at the end, along with all the other QR codes, because there will be more, and they will all be aggregated. So yeah, that is, the community is one of the ways in which we facilitate making things. The second is workshops. On the left, that's our Rickroll workshop. It was people use like a communications API similar to Twilio to call people's phones and play Never Gonna Give You Up. It was a lot of fun. That one on the right is the shaders workshop that we ran a year ago, and it was a lot of fun. People learned how to make really cool visuals with math, and they had a ton of fun. So workshops are hour-long sessions. The goal of workshops is for you to get your feet wet with a new thing. You just like learn a new topic. They're usually an hour long, and you leave with a finished project. So that image on the right, that's from our Sound Galaxy workshop, which we ran last year. And in that workshop, people made a web app that makes it rain particles that are controlled by the sound coming from your microphones. And it was a ton of fun, and it was really easy too. A lot of these people had never made a website before. And they left, after 30 minutes, they all had a project, and after an hour, they all had their own remixes of the project. So by the end of that workshop, not only did everyone walk out with a finished project, they walked out with their own remix, their own version, own unique version of the project, which I think is just awesome. So workshops happen roughly every 2 weeks. There isn't a set schedule, but that's usually what it is. It usually happens every 2 weeks, and we announce every workshop at least a week in advance. And they cover everything. And the cool thing about workshops is that because they're an hour long, it's pretty easy for really anyone to run them. So we have a lot of community members have run workshops too, which is really nice. So we have a workshop coming up. Speaking of announcing workshops a week in advance, our first workshop is next week, a week from today. You're going to make your first game with the Godot game engine. It's next Tuesday, September 5th, 7:30 to 8:30 in Physics Building 112. That QR code takes you to a listing on our events site where you can learn more about it and sign up to get an email reminder. And don't worry about this code will be there later. I want to tell you about the events site. This is the events site. You can access it at events.purduehackers.com. The reason I'm mentioning this specifically is because every time we run an event, we post it there. And so it kind of serves two purposes. The first thing is we share all of our upcoming workshops there, so you can see the 3 events that are coming up, some of which are spoilers. But another cool thing about the event site is all of those past events, if you click on them, you can see pictures and a description and stats of those events. So if you want to explore the kinds of workshops and stuff that we've run in the past, just go to events.purduehackers.com and click on almost any past event, and you can check it out. So I want to bring that to your attention. Every event we post in the announcements channel on Discord will have a link to this website. So it makes, you should know about it. What's next? I think that's all. Oh yeah, okay. And finally, there's Hack Night. Hack Night is the third thing. Hack Night is awesome. It's become our flagship program. Hack Night is a mini hackathon that happens every Friday. It starts at 8 p.m. and it ends when the last person leaves. So when we ran our first Hack Night a year ago, that was 10:30, but it's gotten later and later. So a typical Hack Night these days doesn't end before 4 a.m. Our record is 7:45. But most people don't stay that long. Most people stay a couple hours. And the vibe is, how many of you have been to a hackathon before? Okay, so that's half of you. So it feels, for those of you who have been to a hackathon, it feels very similar. You're just come and have fun and make projects. The only thing that's different is that there isn't a closing ceremony where you have to demo. It just goes on until everyone leaves. So it's pretty unique, and the vibes here are also fantastic. These are a couple more pictures. That picture on the right with everyone gathered around, that is a session. Sessions, I won't spend too much time on this. You can just come to a Hack Night and see it for yourself. But every once in a while we run sessions at Hack Night, and sessions are kind of like workshops, but within a Hack Night. So it's pretty cool. And most of them are run by community members. We have pizza. They're all themed too. So anyway, I just wanted to show you a couple of these. Another cool thing about Hack Night is these badges. So we have a design team that is really awesome. It's full of the coolest people, as evidenced by this. Because every week they make a new design, we source a piece of acrylic or something laser cuttable, and then we laser cut a bunch of these and give them out to people who come to Hack Night. And it's really cool. I don't know if you can see, especially in the back, but all of them have, this was for Hack Night 2.4, which ran on March 31st of this year. So each badge is just for that Hack Night event, and you can only earn it by coming to that event, and it'll never be made or distributed again. The black one, Hack Night 2.7, is my favorite. So it's really cool. All of these badges, by the way, I put them in this bag, so if you want to explore them after, just come up and you're welcome to explore. So that's a little bit about Hack Night. Do I have anything? Yeah, okay. So we're running our first Hack Night. It's this Friday. Hack Night 3.0 beta, this Friday, September 1st at 8 p.m. at the Bechtel Center. That QR code takes you to the event site. Feel free to scan it, but also don't worry, because this will come back up. Those of you in the back, we have plenty of room here. Could I get some of you to come in? Because I see some people out in the hallway, and we have enough room. Sorry. I just feel bad, like, when people are in the hallways if they don't have to be. Anyway, so I highly encourage you to come to the first Hack Night, and I want to share a little bit about one thing that we're trying. I won't spend too long on this, because a lot of you are finding out about Hack Night for the first time, and I don't want to add too many stuff. Just like show up, it doesn't matter. But one thing that we're trying is this new thing called circles. And circles is kind of a way to form groups at Hack Night. So one problem with Hack Night in the past has been that if you show up and you don't already have friends there and you don't already have a project idea, it's kind of hard to get engaged. So we're trying out an experiment called circles. The way it works is you find a group of people with similar interests. Like, let's say you want to learn how to play around with vector databases. You find a couple other people who are also interested in that, and you come to Hack Night together, and then your goal for Hack Night is to make something with the vector database. And then you can run a session later. It doesn't matter. I'll explain the rest of it at Hack Night. But I wanted to make you aware of it now, because if you're planning on coming to Hack Night, I'm going to create a channel right after this in our Discord called Circles, or Hack Night Circles, or something like that. And if you're interested, if you're planning on coming to Hack Night, I highly encourage you to just post in that channel something you're interested in learning, or something you're interested in making. It doesn't have to be like, I want to make this project. It could be like, I want to read research on this, or I want to just dive deep into this particular topic. It could be whatever you want, and just post that. And if you see someone who has a similar interest to you, start a thread, and then form a circle and come to Hack Night together. And if you don't do it before Hack Night, that's okay, because we'll run a thing at Hack Night too. All right, that's enough about Hack Night. It'd be great if you came. It's really great. How many of you have been in the Bechtel Center before? Okay, for those of you who haven't, you gotta go. It's one of the coolest buildings on campus that is so underrated. Almost nobody I talk to knows it exists, but it's so good. All right, anyway, that's enough about Hack Night. What's next? Ooh, a rainbow. Okay, I have that rainbow here because I want to share a little bit more about the way I see Purdue hackers. So all of these three programs, community on Discord, where people are sharing what they're working on and making things together. Workshops that get your feet wet with a new topic and you leave with a finished project. Hack Night, the mini hackathon every Friday night. We see these as all being creating this universe. We view Purdue hackers as this magical alternative universe that is a surreal parody of the real world. And I say the real world because you learn real world marketable skills by being in Purdue hackers, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like you're stepping into a universe. One example is at a Hack Night last year, we made an alternative way to measure time with hexadecimal and colors. somebody made a flag for Purdue hackers, like a country flag, which we're going to order a physical one soon. And then a couple people are working on physical passports for like the Republic of Purdue hackers that are like going to be very well, they're very good. And so all of these projects just come together to form this I don't know, you gotta experience it for yourself, but it just really feels like stepping into a magical universe. Weirdos welcome, creatives welcome. I didn't mention this before. I don't know where a lot of you are coming from. How many of you are CS majors? Or DX, or, okay, that's most of you. So that's usually what it is in Purdue Hackers. Purdue Hackers has a lot of CS and DS and AI folks, but it's very interdisciplinary. We have a lot of people who are from one of those majors too. So we market it to like sponsors and stuff as like a CS club, but it's really a club for making things, whatever you want, that is highly interdisciplinary. So I wanted to mention that. Okay, a couple more things. First, I got in some questions about this, so I want to clarify. There is no commitment. Purdue Hackers is entirely opt-in. There are no dues, there are no commitments. Some people have asked me, how do you like join Purdue Hackers? The answer is to show up to stuff if you want. Show up to as much or as little as you want. Hack Night or Purdue Hackers is here for you. And I also want to say we are open source, and I mean that in two ways. The first way is we literally have a GitHub org where all of our infrastructure is open source. But I also mean that the line between organizers and community members is blurry. The Godot workshop that I mentioned earlier, that's being run by a community member. And that was organized entirely by a community member. Community members have contributed a ton, have helped organize hack nights. They built software for Purdue Hackers. So I say this because like you're in control of what you want to do here. You can, like, if you have an idea for an event that you want to run, you can just like make it happen. Like if you want to run a workshop, you can just do it. Or if you want to build a piece of software, you can just do it. And you can shape as much of your experience and others' experiences as you want. We only have organizers because like we need people who do like commit to doing stuff every week. Like somebody needs to send out the marketing materials and like someone needs to raise money. But like a lot of the work is done by community members. So I wanted to make that clear. We're like super open. That said, we're adding a couple of organizers. We're recruiting a designer, a community manager, and a storyteller. We're doing this a little bit differently. A lot of clubs they add execs, and then the execs have like a general area. We're treating this differently this year. We're like adding people for these roles. So I don't want to say too much about it, but I made a little thing. So when you're at a computer, type sshorganize.purduehackers.com in your terminal to learn more about those. What's next? Oh yeah, okay. Can I answer any burning questions? What's up?
Except for meeting at the back of the center, for people who do more hardware stuff, do we have access to the manufacturing infrastructure which is in place, or can we be trained to get access to that?
As of now, no. All of the doors, all of the things are locked, which is kind of annoying, but it would be great to have that in the future. So I'd love to make that happen.
So Hack Night is like a hackathon thing, right?
Yeah.
So is there always like a topic in Hack Night, like what you do or something?
No, it's very like, what I think Hack Night is like, so the question was, does Hack Night have like a theme, like a topic every week? The answer is not really. It's super open. Like you come with a project or come with whatever you want, but we have ways to guide you for things, which Circle is one of those things. The goal is for everyone to be working on something, and we're here to help you get started on stuff. Okay. Okay. So here's how the rest of this is going to work. We have this room until 7:30, and I don't think there's anything reserved after us. There might be, I'm not sure. So I highly encourage you. There are snacks up there. Grab some snacks. If you have any questions that you don't want to ask their group, or you just want to chat and introduce yourself, come up. Feel free to hang out, get to know each other. We're here until the last person leaves.